Welcome to another episode of That's Some Crazy Shit with Kelly and James. I am Kelly and my co-host is James.
Hey, Miss Kelly.
How you doing, brother?
Doing good. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. Another podcast. It's been another week, and that's always a good thing. I enjoy when we get together and do the podcast. And lately, we've been on a guest role.
Yeah, we have. We've had some good ones.
Yeah, we have. And one of the things that we said about the podcast, remember when we started way back when in September of 2020? It's been so long. It's been like a hard, 6 months,
6
right?
months, man.
So remember 6 months ago when we started the podcast and we said that we wanted this to be like a positive zone. We weren't going to talk about COVID. We weren't going to talk about politics.
No politics.
We weren't going to really talk about religion.
No.
Right? Because we wanted to keep it interesting but fun. And, there's enough reality in the world for all of us, So we decided that that's not the type of podcast we were going to be. And we've been pretty good. But we also said that we were opened. And the criteria to talk about stuff on the podcast is just one thing.
And that is?
It had to be deemed as crazy shit.
Right.
Right?
And we've talked about some crazy shit, so...
We've talked about some crazy shit. So we say all of this for our listeners to know that we had a guest come on. We're actually going to play this episode for you next when we're done talking to you now. But we thought it was going to be one thing, and it turned out to be something else. And so a lot of the views that our guest has, although they are his views, they may not be our views.
No. And anyone, I think, that knows me personally will know this once they hear this gentleman speak.
And so me and James always talk about being open-minded. And so being open-minded means having people come on with all different views, all different things that can be deemed as crazy shit. I don't think we ever said we agreed with everything that we talk about. We really just try to present the information and ask questions. It's more about understanding than agreeing or disagreeing who's right, who's wrong. That's not what we are. So our guest was Mr. Scott Howard. Scott Howard is a musician. He plays his music in 432 megahertz, which, if you know anything about frequencies and vibration, 432 megahertz is like the miracle tone, the healing tone.
Yeah, so going into this, we were expecting an episode to focus on the healing of 432 megahertz.
And talk about vibrations and frequencies and how that works and how it's really ancient technology, I guess. But in speaking with Mr. Howard, he talked about some other things that we were really caught off guard. I mean, we're just going to put it out there. We had no idea that these are the things that we were going to be talking about.
Right. And some of his views were pretty opinionated. And, I think us being new at the podcasting didn't really know how to respond. At least that was my case. I really didn't know how to respond to Mr. Howard.
Well, I also think that we were caught off guard. I think that we were caught off guard because we were under the impression that we were going to be talking one thing, and the conversation led to other places that we had no idea that that's where we were going. So before we aired the podcast, we want to be respectful to Mr. Howard as our guest, but we also want our listeners to know that, some of the things that he talked about and some of the things that he said, we are not in agreement with. We are simply airing the podcast because it meets our criteria as is some crazy shit.
That is some crazy shit. And when you listen to it, you tell us if it fits that.
And if these are your beliefs, then, so be it. We're not here to judge. We're not here to argue. We're not here to debate. Like we said, we just want to talk about crazy shit. It's some crazy shit. We talked about some stuff that we didn't think we were going to talk about, and we just felt compelled to let you know that the views or the things that we talk about, we're not here to disagree or agree with, and we may not agree, but we're still going to play the episode.
So, should we do it, Cal?
I think we should do it. So, welcome to the podcast, our guest, Mr. Scott Howard. Scott is a musician. He plays his music in 432 megahertz, which has been known to be the miracle tone. He has 2 albums. The first one was in 2018, The Ascended Man. The second one was released in 2020, which is The Language of Clouds. That also comes with an ebook of photographs, which I'm sure he'll talk more about in the interview. Welcome to the podcast, our guest, Mr. Scott Howard.
All right, Scott, we want to thank you for being with us on That's Some Crazy Shit. Can you tell us a little bit about when you're playing your music, where your inspiration comes from?
Oh my goodness, where my inspiration comes from. It comes from so many places. It began, because it always begins somewhere, I think it began with trying to have my mother, it always starts from the mother. I always tried to, impress my mother that I had some talent. My mother was an opera singer, and the family itself came from music. And so we would have these things called the Cousins Club many years ago. And they would just go around a piano and they would literally play for hours. Another person would get up and sing and play. It was the strangest thing, but that's what it was. So it built up my creativity side. So I wanted to be able to prove that I could get up and play in front of people. So I think I was around 8 or 9 that I started a band. And it was called the Gemini 5. That's what it was called, the Gemini 5, even back then, because I had a friend of the family that actually had a part in building the Apollo rockets. Oh. So it always seems that for whatever reason, people involved in this area had background where a family member or so on had military background. So my family had not only the Apollo, but my family also owned a flying school out in Minden, Nevada, which is up near Reno. And it was a flying school that trained the military. I think it was the Marines. I think it trained the Marines back then because they didn't have a flying school back then. If we would have kept the flying school, William Lear actually bought that company from my family. And they flew us back on William Lear's jet. And this is 1967. I'm aging myself now. And I got on the plane, and I'll never forget, they had these windows that you press a button, and they'd go black. Now, this is 1967. And they would go opaque. So I spent the entire trip opaque, clear, just like, a kid pushing the buttons. But that technology amazed me, to be able to, not a curtain, not a thing that goes down, you push a button and it would go opaque. And now I think it was, maybe 5 years ago, that technology came out where they, you'd opaque the glass. Right. And sure enough, that's how old that technology was. William Lear had that alien tech back then. So we owned the flying school. I would have been a pilot most probably if we would have, kept the flying school, but we didn't. And so again, long around answer is, that was the beginning. And then from there it went on, with the band and the music. And, I came from a background of, learning how to write music, how to read music, because back then we were taught, it's such a shame what they've done to our children. They've dumbed them down so much that, I literally, I think it was 3rd grade, I got a trumpet. I got and the trumpet, you went to, if you didn't like that, you'd go to another instrument. I think I ended up with the tuba, and I played the sousaphone. And so I had the bass. Dum, 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 dum. I always got that, I'm listening to it in my head. And sure enough, so that's where it came from. So I was able to write music, read music. That's important because it builds a certain, side of your brain. So when you hear something, you can write it down. versus a kid today when they pick up the guitar, they play a G, they play whatever it is they're playing, but they're not playing it from the right frequency. Everything is frequency. Everything. If you have the wrong frequency, you get sick. So when you become less alkaline and you become more acidic, so when your frequency changes, you can get ill. So when you eat your food, you've got to pray over your food, because when you drink water, before you drink your water, you must pray over that water. It's amazing the taste difference between before and after you taste food, specifically water, because it will literally get rid of all the impurities out of the water. It's the strangest thing.
So are you imbibing like a certain frequency into that water that does that?
Yeah. It just happens. For whatever reason, it's something that it's been instilled in me, even as a child. But there are certain things you must do, or before you do anything. Before you've got to pray. It sounds silly, but you must pray over anything you do before you go to work today, before you go to sleep. You want to make sure that whatever you're doing works out well. And so it's the same thing with water, because water is so we're so unsure with what we're putting in our mouths these days, with the deep state poisoning us. This is I literally make sure that whatever I put in my mouth, it's excuse the pun, but it is, it's prayed over. Even when you're having sex, you pray over that. Well, God, please make sure it goes well.
Now you tell me.
Yeah. So Scott, I was reading your bio and learning more about you. Your debut album was The Ascended Man, correct?
Actually, my debut album is called Baby Boomers, The Secret of Time. And you can see the clock in the middle, which says 9/11. It's got the Twin Towers. It's got all that stuff that you had when you were a kid. And it's got Roar 714s for those who may know that drug when they were kids. And then you got the record and things like that. But that was my first album there. But then from there, my first, I guess, coming out album was Ascended Man. All my records have got, they have secrets. Let's put it that way. They've got hidden in their artwork. So you've got to look at them and you'll see what they are. They have something to do with angel numbers or certain things to make sure that the albums go well, to bless them, if you will.
Do you illustrate them?
Yes, in some cases I do. If not, I give the direction. Like this, The Language of Clouds, and this is literally a photo I took the day my son had passed. Actually, probably the next week, I should say, next week. This is a photo of the clouds. This is a soul harvest, and this is when he went up to wherever he was going. And so this is an actual. I seem, for whatever reason, my special power, I guess you call it, I'm able to see what the clouds actually are. So I work. I just finished my eBook, which is called The Language of Clouds, which is coming out, and it's literally it's over the last 5 years. It goes over that during my awakening, and it goes through with photography, all the photos I've taken, and they'll blow people's minds when they realize actually what we have above our heads.
So you refer to yourself, or I had read where somebody had referred to you as a light worker. You consider yourself to be a light worker through the music?
I don't consider myself anything other than lucky to be here at this time. If somebody wants, calls me a light worker, which has been told to me, I'm very happy to help out. Let's put it that way. No one wants to say, that they're a light worker. No one wants to say they have any talent. So, in any case, I hope I am a light worker, and I hope I'm doing, some of the right things to help people wake up, which is really it's a lot harder than it looks, because some people are just stubbornly, sleeping. They're very happy in their heads in the ground. And hopefully my music, and I just finished a movie. It's called The World Ascension Tour, A Light Worker's Journey. Yes, there's the word. And it's live at Village Studios in Los Angeles. I shot that in July. And it's a very cool film. It's the very first concert film ever shot in 432. And so the audience, literally by watching it, it helps them raise their vibration, and it helps disclose. There's a lot of disclosure in this film, which is why it's been censored a lot, out on the market. But it's really a great film. And the soundtrack is in vinyl, so everyone's gonna have to go out and buy themselves a record player. And it's the very first vinyl album in 432.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's great sound to it. So that's coming out. It's already been printed, but it's taken longer because just everything is slowed down with the way these idiots have closed down this country, which has been done on purpose. But that's beside the point.
So Scott, in doing some research about this, they record things at 440 now. Is that correct?
Well, right now it's the satanic Luciferian cabal has everything in at 440. So during World War II, when the Germans won World War II, they didn't lose World War II, they won World War II. They decided to keep everything at 440. That includes broadcasting, it includes TV, radio, even tuning of instruments at 440, which lowers your vibration, makes you more dense. So you want everything again is sound. So if you are vibrating at a 440 versus a 432, you're vibrating at a lower vibration, which is what you don't want, which is why I tell people stop watching TV, stop watching MSM, news. It's designed to lower your vibration, to make you upset. Fear, you don't want fear. There's no reason for fear. Everything is a show. Nothing is real here. And, it's kind of like the Beatles knew it back then, let me take you down the strawberry fields, where nothing is real. So it's true. Nothing is real. Literally, the Biden is not president. He's president of a corporation that's defunct. President Trump is president of a republic, which is real. It exists. That's why he's never left presidency. Trump is still president, believe it or not. But that's another discussion.
Okay, so
dropping bombs everywhere, dropping bombs.
No, well, because you have me thinking. I had saw an interview where you said that we were moving into 5D or in 5D, but we had interviewed somebody a couple of weeks ago who said we were in a blend of 5 and 6D, quickly moving into the sixth dimension.
I don't know. That's a tough one. I don't see ourselves going to 6 all of a sudden here. We're lucky to be in 4.5 to 5 because most of the people here are so oblivious to even what 3D is, to let alone go to 4. So you have a lot of people here that we're trying to wake up as many as possible. But 5D is tough enough. I'd love to see 6D. Because there's a lot that's going on with this illusion. This is all an illusion here. I hate to say it. Me talking to you, and you remember when Jim Carrey was on TV and he went? It was like one of those award shows. He walked in like, does it make a difference? It's all fake anyway. It's all not real. Like he kind of like everyone goes, what the heck is going? Well, he knew it. He shot the Truman Show. I mean,
right.
Come on, guys. If anyone's going to know what's going on, it's going to be Carrey. And sure enough, he is right. This is all fake. Biden has never been into the White House. Never. It's not even Biden. I mean, this guy's wearing a mask half the time. He's got a slit down the back of his mask. Believe me, you're about to see when the emergency broadcasting system comes on in the next couple of weeks, all the atrocities, all the things that have happened. They pulled children out of the under the White House about 2 weeks ago. They had buses pull up with blacked out windows. They pulled up children from under, I think it's the White House or the Senate. President Trump knew this. This is why he had to leave. He had to leave. If he would have been caught, and because he could have easily said, "Hey, I'm president. You guys stole the election. This is all bull," which is true. He was smart. When he left, he made an announcement. This is what I did. I did this, 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 and this, and this. Anything else is your problem. You did it. And then he walked away from a corporation because, understand, we started as a republic. In 1776, we were a republic. In 1876 or 73, whatever it was, the elite stole the country because Ulysses Grant needed money. And so they borrowed money, unfortunately, from the Rothschilds, who in turn put everything up as assets. So they started the Federal Reserve. They proceeded to give everybody a Social Security number, which is how we became assets. And the president was the CEO, and they worked for shareholders, board, and the shareholders were the 13 families. The big, rich. And they could print money whenever they wanted. It was backed by gold. It was somewhat, okay. But then when, the petrodollar went to crap because the oil was done, the dollar was not backed by anything anymore. So they proceeded to print money after money after money. I mean, these people went crazy. And so Trump saw this, and in 2018, he negated the corporation and he brought back in the republic. He didn't tell anybody. So the republic is what we were. That's what we should remain. So the Fed's done. The IRS is done. Biden's done. That's why when Biden became, quote unquote, president of a corporation, which is now defunct and has no money, everybody was miserable. And Biden wasn't even at the White House. He wasn't even at the inauguration. He was in jail, which gets even crazier than that. But in any case, he wasn't there. There was somebody else there. The guy had a mask on. It was a slit down his back. And he took his hand off the Bible before he even got done, saying his, United States for America, not of America. They were for America. So anyway, he is not the president. He is, he's been shooting this at Castle Rock Studios between Colorado and LA. So he's shooting whenever he signs stuff or whatever, he's signing it in a staged, stage, because he hasn't even been to the White House yet. He's not allowed. He flew in on a private plane to get inaugurated. He didn't fly in on Air Force One. He hasn't been given the football. He's got no power. Let's put it that way. Everything he's signed is nothing. So anyway.
But Scott, I find this really interesting. How do you know all of this? Where does all of this information come from?
Oh boy, it's going to go deeper now. Well, I in 2015, I had the president was at our wedding in Mar-a-Lago when I got married. I just happened to know the right people, and I can tell you that everything will be fine. The military right now runs the country. Most of them turned around. I don't know if you watched they put the camera away, but when this person went driving down the street, most of the military turned their backs on the car when he was going towards the inauguration. If you watched the police when they were walking down the steps, none of them had any insignias on their outfits. It was all staged. It was the world's a stage and everyone's a player. That's Shakespeare knew it back then. It's the same thing now. So I mean, people have to wake up. They got to realize that the Luciferian satanic people have been running this country for about 100 years. They've been running the world for thousands, but they've been running the United States as a corporatocracy for at least 100 years, if not more. And now that's coming to an end, thank God. And God is involved in this battle. There's been battles in the sky. In 2017, I went through an awakening, and where I ended up, it was like a DMT trip. Not that I ever did DMT, and I did any, I've done drugs, but not that. It ended up with me meeting Archangel Michael. So literally out of the sky came an angel, stood in front of me. And actually, that's the name of my next album. I seem to always know the name of my next album beforehand. Most of my music is written prophetically. So it's about what I see that's going to happen, or what I see that it needs to be done, maybe not now, but in the future. My song Harvest Blessings was written knowing that there's going to come a time when we need to heal. And that's what that song's about. The Lost Art of Truth was written when, Biden came in, and, I need to write something that commented on that. I wrote something called Awaken 10 years ago, I think it was, which is on the album, Ascended Man. And I knew back then something wasn't right. I just could always feel something's not right. And but I've always had, I guess, a psychic as I got older. I became more and more stronger until in 2017, an awakening. God decided, okay, you're done partying and having a good time, smacking you in the face, and have at this. Take a look at this. And he showed me beyond the veil, and I saw what the Truman Show was. I saw three beings stand up in the sun in front of me, and it just didn't seem right. But then it didn't bother me. It was kind of like weird. Okay, there's three beings standing up in the sun, because I bought a camera, one of those Nikon P900 cameras, and I never had a camera like that. So I was taking pictures of everything. That was my downfall. Don't take pictures of everything, because you'll see things you don't want to see. And so I realized what the camera was lensing was different than what my eye was lensing. So if I go like this and I go like this, it's just not matching. And I realized that the lens is picking up a lot more frequency than what our eye is allowed to pick up. And it became quite apparent that there were a lot of invisible things to us. We have been governed down. You know what a governor is? When you were a kid, you had a motorbike.
Slows you down.
Yeah, we have a governor on our mind, on our DNA, which allows us or negates us from seeing things that are right in front of us. And now I've been, sometimes you used to catch it out of the side of your eye. You'd see things fly by. Well, now I see them here. They're right in front of me. And so there's in my house, I don't know how many spirits flying around here. I've got cats, dogs, and, they protect you. The animals protect you. And I could show you a picture of me with a bear. And probably it's about 9-foot high bear behind me. So I guess that's my spirit. The bear is my bear spirit, I guess.
Bear spirit. That's interesting.
But I've got pictures of cats and cat spirits and aliens, and who the hell knows what they are actually. But I've got pictures of the watchers in the sky. The watchers are everywhere. But I've got pictures that'll blow. It's in the book. Yeah. But even those I don't think are real. I think that they're put there. I think it's a cut and paste job in the sky. Believe it or not, I think the sky is it's the biggest TV on the planet, the sky. Think about it. It's in your face all the time. And if they want to make you depressed, they make it, snow out, they make it stormy and whatever, which they can. But it goes even beyond that, because there are numbers in the sky. There are words in the sky. There are sentences in the sky. There are pictures in the sky. It's all there, and I've got photos of all that in my book, The Language of Clouds.
Now, in your book, Scott, does it tell us how to interpret the pictures that we take?
Well, the pictures themselves are self-evident. When you see them, they're there. It's either the number 8. Yeah, it's 4, 6, 2, 3, 9. I mean, I get angel numbers. I get angel numbers daily. I mean, I get angel numbers on everything. I get it on the carpets, on the floor. I get it on the walls. I can read on you. Everyone's marked. We're all marked in order to exist. I've seen signs under the sun. It says it's the word sun, right there. Everything is marked so it can exist. I believe it's all fake. I mean, it's just there. When I met the angel, a year later, my son was taken. His name is Max, and he was, with me in my band and stuff. He was a great young man. And so it started from there. That was my path began in 2017. He passed in 2018. But even his passing, his social security number was my phone number as a kid. How could that be? That's
About that.
That's impossible. I mean, impossible, unless we are living in a digital holographic reality.
So like the Matrix, people talk about something like that.
This is the Matrix. I'm looking at the floor right now, and I don't know. And I got two words, and I can't make them out on the floor. It's very strange. I'm seeing them right now. I'll have to figure out what it is. But in any case, again, it comes to me like that. I'll look at my phone and I'll have, let's see what I got here. I've got angel numbers, 1984. But I gotta go check and see what that means. But if I add up all the numbers around it, it'll all come up to 1984. It's impossible for that to come out so perfectly. But again, and when the angels know that you know that you're reading them, then everything flows. I mean, they are contacting you all times of the day. It's not easy to have sex when you have angels watching you around the bed. 5, 2, holding up signs. That's what's happening here. I mean, you are never alone. Never. That's the problem. But so that has a lot to do with my music. To wake up people, to let them know. Maybe this is going to 6D. I don't know. I mean. All I know is that it's tough enough to get people up to 4D. And you didn't want to be 4D because 4D is a demon world. It's that's why they have power over us, the demons, because they're in 4D. We were in 3D. They have control over one planet. This is it, unfortunately, and we're on it, but we're about to be freed. So they're not happy about that.
And so when you say that we're about to be freed or everything's going to be okay, and we think of time as being linear, right? Because that's just who we are. Are you talking soon? Are you talking a millennia? What does that mean?
Very soon. What time is it?
It is. Tomorrow. You're talking like tomorrow or minutes from
Absolutely. now. Absolutely. All of the above. It's already happened. It's already happened. Time is anything but linear, and
right.
And they've already invented time travel. So I mean, Tesla did it way back when, and Trump's uncle was in bed with him, not literally, but he was working with Tesla. So when Tesla passed, Trump's uncle got all the tech, and then after he got the tech, the government got the rest. So Trump's uncle got everything, including the time travel. So that's why POTUS was able to, second guess everything before these idiots did it. And, so he knew that they were going to steal the election. He knew it ahead of time. I mean, he had the watermarks on all the ballots. I was flying back from New York to Florida, and I saw on the side of the road like 10,000 Trump ballots strewn on the side of the road, right outside of LaGuardia Airport. So, and I took pictures of it, and I contacted everyone I had to, and it went down the way it went down.
Well, that's too bad. No one could have got some of these ballots, and then it would have been.
Oh, it's all been handed over, and it's all been truckload. They got everything. They know everything. They've got everything. It's over. It's just that we're trying to wake people up. So he knew this, and he knew that if he could have easily, said, "Hey, this is all bullshit, and I'm going to be." So I don't know if I can curse on your show, but in any case,
yeah, you can.
Anyway,
you can.
Okay. So he knew this, but he had to let it go on because he had to wake people up, to let them know that these people are not even bad, but they're really bad things. They just busted Biden's compound in some Baltic third world country, and it had $300 million in cash or gold. It had 300 pounds of black tar heroin. It had dungeons in the basement with DNA flesh on the handcuffs on the walls, where they were literally harvesting adrenochrome from this facility.
Heard of that.
Yeah. So I mean, this guy, they're just not nice people, but they're not even people. I mean, that's the thing, is you got to realize who they really are. It goes off planet. Who runs this world? It's not the Chinese. It's not the 13 families. They were lucky, they were the supposedly the lucky ones, but I don't think they're in the end. They're not the lucky ones because they're going to end up in, wherever they are, in some machine. But it ends up with we were ruled by reptilian alien race. That those are the guys up there. They're actually up there, and they're also underneath the ground. So as above, so below.
We talked about reptilians on one of our shows, Scott.
Could be.
Yeah, we did talk about reptilians, and that's what, that's one of the things that we always have. I'm fascinated with. It's because it's just some crazy shit.
It goes, Well, it goes way beyond that. But you've got the Alliance. You got two sects. You got the Alliance, which is the good guys, and you got the Federation, which supposedly is not the good guys. And, they're fighting each other. I saw in 2017 angels in the sky on horseback fighting battles in the sky. I saw that, I think it was 2 or 3 times. And so I've been lucky enough or not lucky enough to see things that, I don't think you'd be able to, people think they're going crazy. Some of the things that I've seen in the sky and around. The night my son passed, I was taking photos of the dark sky, and all of us, these are still shots on my iPhone. And all of a sudden, the camera that was a still shot became animated. So all of a sudden, one of the clouds was like this, like they were praying. And I heard one word out of the phone: pray, 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 over and over again. And I got on my hands and knees and I started praying. I says, please, God, I knew it was not good. And then I got a phone call. So it's supernatural no matter what.
Now, Scott, I have a question for you. We've talked about to our other guests about when they experience these things. When you shared these experiences, what were some of the reactions you got from people?
First of all, you have to have a hard cover because some people they gloss over because it's completely outside of their regular realm of reality. All I try to do is tell people the truth, my truth as I know it, and hopefully it enlightens them and it makes them think more. Many people don't think. I was telling a friend of mine, most people, we're not touching anymore. We're not, when they want you 6 feet apart, no, they want you 6 feet below. It's just words, but words are spells. Understand that. Words are spells. And if you ever listen to Obama speak in public, and then you listen to his words backwards, they're not good. So, it's the same thing with, mostly anybody. Most of the politicians anyway. What they say going forward is exactly the opposite going back. Hillary Clinton, forget about it. Things that they've caught, they put her to death 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago they put her to death. This is a clone. It's either a clone or an actress walking around as her right now. She's a lot smaller right now. She's not even the same person. Most of these people have been put to death. You'd be surprised. And it's either the clone or an actor taking over.
Now, I have a question about when you say, when you play their words backwards, do you mean the actual recording?
Yeah,
or
the recording.
When you read it backwards, the wording? So the recording.
The actual recording. You can go online you used to be able to go online on YouTube or whatever, and you used to be able to, say an Obama speech in reverse. It's called reverse speech. And they have a bunch of people that they did that for. And it's not good. It's very demonic.
So does that go for all politicians, including Trump as well, if he were to play his words backwards?
His are not. His are angelic. He is, everyone put, based on what the deep state, did, they tried to paint him as a bad guy and stuff. He's anything but. He has given up his entire life for this world, for this planet. Literally, not just the country. And an amazing man. And so, they tried to make him out to be something other than he truly is. And, JFK Jr., he's alive. He's not dead. He went into deep hiding for 40 some odd years so he can help us now. This has all been planned for a very long time. Elvis, alive. Princess Diana, alive. Michael Jackson, alive. A lot of these people, even John Denver, I think he's alive. These people went into hiding because the deep state wanted them to go with them, to be, bad. Eat people. That's what they did. They were pedivores. If you think, all right, you all know the Bible, right? Cain and Abel. Supposedly in the Bible, Cain kills Abel and he buries him, and that's the milquetoast version. The true version is he eats him, and he eats him to get his power. And say Cain, get rid of the word "end" and say Abel. Say it.
Cannibal.
Yep. That's what's been running our world. The Canaanites. The Canaanites have been running our world for quite a long time. It's the oldest religion on the planet. It's been kept quiet for umpteen thousands of years. And these people know that if they were driving in a town or a city and they saw a sign that had, a crown with 9 or 6 things at the top, it's a place where you can get kids. It's the most horrific picture in your mind with all these, they're called DUMBs, D-U-M-B-S, deep underground military bases. And they're all over the world, and they've been cleaning them out now for the last 4 years. And they just did that one in D.C. That's why D.C. is being, or the White House is being construction's going on at the White House, and you see fire coming out from underneath the White House because they're blowing up the underground base where all the demons were. And
so the demons are what man these bases, these underground bases?
Man them? I don't know. They man them because you've got military down there too. You've got people that man them as well. But yes, they're down there. I mean, Australia was horrible. That's why they called it the Down Under, because it is where the hell was. I mean, it's horrific underneath the ground there. Hell does exist. Well, it was worse underneath D.C. And it's, these senators and these House of Representatives, they would feed off these kids. Literally, they found body parts underneath there. They found dead children. They found horrific. And they pulled up hundreds of them about 2 weeks ago from under the White House. Epstein gave them the information.
Now, I've read of there being one of these bases in New Mexico, in Dulce.
Yeah.
Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, it's there.
It's there? There is one there?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Definitely there. Yeah, I mean, there's like 267, 276 DUMBs, I think, in the United States alone. And then throughout the world, there are underground subway systems that run throughout the planet. You could literally get in one in LA and be in DC in less than an hour. They're just, amazing technology. We live in Star Trek times, and we're living in, Ozzie and Harriet times, on the street. We're driving cars with wheels, when in reality, all our cars should be, anti-gravity. But if you go to Antarctica, that's, remember that movie it was Disney made the movie about the off-world, it was a breakaway civilization. The kid, there was two children involved. It was called...
Oh, I know what one you're talking about.
Yeah.
With, was it Clooney?
Clooney was in it, right, exactly. That's real. Star Trek's real. Stargate SG-1 is real. It's all real. You think they made that shit up? It's all real. We've got...
Why won't they share that with the public?
Because
why are they holding...
It didn't...
State power?
Didn't make... Why would you show the technology to us. I mean, they're literally doing business all over the galaxy. They're getting, they're going to work. They go downstairs in some building where they're working, and they literally get off in an elevator and they're on the moon. They have these jump rooms, and they have the med beds are coming out now. Now the med beds are coming. So I mean, all these med beds have been around for 20 years, maybe a lot long. They've been around for thousands of years. Quite frankly, they go back to the Egyptian times. But the ancient technology, it's ancient. I mean, it goes back so far. I mean, God. But now we're getting some of it. We're getting it. So what's happening is the veil's coming down. And I made an amazing discovery about 2 days ago regarding our skies, which I can't get into right now. But I can just tell you this: that we're not where we should be. We're not where we should be. Let's put it that way. We're not where we think we are. Let's put it that way. So I just say to you is that we should be able to fly around and leave the galaxy, and we all can. That technology is here. The moon is hollow. The moon is an ancient ship that was brought here 50,000 years ago. And, the aliens are up there, just like, what's his name on the Truman Show, watching us. And, it's all going to come out. Literally. I mean, that's how big the tech is.
And you say soon, right?
Yeah.
You say it's because it's happening right now.
It's already happening. It's already happening. It's just, the general population, they just got to get a little freaking smarter. The faster they wake up, the faster we can get to our stuff. But again, right now we are going through certain parts of the universe that is increasing in energies. The Schumann resonance, I think it was a month or two ago, maybe 3 months ago. I think it was December 20th. I knew I had to be in Florida on December 20th. I knew I had to be here, knew it. And sure enough, the Schumann resonance, which normally is around 7.8, 8.3, was at 500. It went off the charts because portals were opening and things were coming through. You have a question?
Can you roll that back a little bit, Scott, and explain to me what you're talking about? You're talking about these Schumann.
Yeah, the Schumann resonance is something that the scientists, it's a measuring technique that measures the frequency of the planet. What is it resonating at? Now, Mother Earth has been resonating and holding herself back in 3D for too long, and she must increase to 5D. Must. Now, we are like fleas on a dog. If we do not increase our frequency, we will be shaken off like earthquakes and stuff. We'll be dead. So it's very important for us to increase our frequency, which is what we're all trying to do. As soon as possible, which is what hopefully my music does and what my talking does. But it's important to sing. What was your question? Go ahead. I don't know if I answered it, but yes.
No, that answered it. That was a good answer, Scott. Go ahead, Kelly.
No, I was going to say, so through the music, you're helping people raise their frequency. But my question is, and some people will say, well, how will I know if I've actually raised my frequency? Will I feel different? Will I be different? What does that mean?
Well, again, it's everything comes in threes. I hope you realize that everything is in threes.
We've talked about this, the significance of three.
Right. So it's to sing. That's one. To sing in 432 is two. But the message, what am I singing about? That's three. So I'm hopefully, or actually I should say that, singing in 432 should be one, the message is two, and the outcome should be three. So that sounds better. So anyway, so my music is different in that the message is to awaken, to tell people about what I'm telling you in talking, I'm telling it in song. And so hopefully people will start paying attention to lyrics more, and they start paying attention more to my album covers, because everything gives a message. So I'm hoping that people start paying attention to that message. And that's why I want them to watch the movie. Right now it's available on Amazon and Movie Hub and all that stuff, my website, which is scotthowardmusic.com. But Amazon is kind of like hiding it. They won't allow me to put a description on what it is, the movie. It's kind of like, it says, master, I think it's produced by Matrix Inc., whatever.
You don't get to put the 432 in the title, do you?
It's World Ascension Tour. Yeah, pretty much. It's they don't even let me use my thumbnail, which is the poster. They took the band, the picture of the band, which is in the middle of the poster. They took that. They literally cut my poster up. They wouldn't allow the poster to be used in the thumbnail. So I mean, it's a nightmare what they've done. They don't want people to watch it. Let's put it that way. So hopefully,
We've heard about them censoring 432 in titles of songs and things like that, videos.
So what I'm doing is I'm having a movie premiere party, but it's really a movie premiere promo where it's going to be $4.32 to watch the movie. You go to my website. You can't go to Amazon because they'll give you nothing. And it's $4.32, but they come to the website, scotthowardmusic.com. They fill out the form. It's a simple form. Just put your email address and check off I want the discount code, and we'll give them a discount code that gives them another 55% off the $4.32. So for $2 and something cents, you get to watch a concert, which is pretty inexpensive. And,
that is true.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
It's very inexpensive.
So hopefully I get my message out to as many as possible, and if they like it, they'll buy the soundtrack. Again, it's a record. But it's very rare because I only made so many of them. And, again, it's the only vinyl album in 432. So everything else is in digital.
Fantastic. So I have a question for you just real quick. So I know that you said that the instruments are now tuned to 440. Your music is in 432. If somebody is just singing, if I'm just singing, just me in my kitchen, am I singing at 440 or am I singing at 432? Or is my voice can't be either frequency? It's got to be an instrument.
No, I mean, you're singing at whatever you're singing at, because a lot of times, you may hear a song and you can't hit those notes. So you're going to bring it to whatever you can hit the notes at. So it could be 432. It could be anything. I mean, you singing it is just too abstract. But,
gotcha.
but playing it with an instrument, it becomes viable. Becomes okay. I can now monetize that. So when you're playing with an instrument, based on the tuning, will predicate what you are singing at.
Perfect. Thank you. That answers my question. Thank you, Scott. It has been such an incredible discussion that we've had with you. I am my mind is blown.
Soak in.
Right. It's a lot of information, but I thank you so much for coming on and taking the time to sit down with me and James and talk with us and be a part of our podcast. It really means a lot.
Terrific.
Yes, thank you.
Hopefully, you've enjoyed. And if anything resonates, you'll hopefully play my music. Timelines in Our Mind, which is, I wrote that and I've been, I haven't been able to get into the studio, so I've been in my private studio here, and I wrote that song about 2 weeks ago. Everyone was talking about timelines. The timelines are changing, and timelines are changing. They're in flux all the time. But we must, in our mind, manifest the highest timeline that's best for everyone, not just best for you. It's going to be best for everyone. And so the song is about that. It's obviously more of a draft because I would do it with my band, but and it's a great song.
Scott said play his song, and so we did. Listen to Timelines in Our Minds.
Okay, Timelines in Our Minds. 432 on the upcoming Angel Numbers album. World where everything's concealed, fields where nothing is real. These memories, are they truly yours? Night skies are these distant stars. Many prisoners lived on Mars. What is this reality? Nothing is real. The world isn't right. Our life situations are computer simulations. Open up your hidden eye. Look around. Silenced voices, stolen choices by a Geppetto clown. Are we this human race? Such crimes against humanity and disgrace. And mistrust. Species like us can only live in a fairy tale. It's time to see. Mirror, mirror, this reflection can't be me. It must be known. Are we like ants under a dome, harvesting our adrenochrome? Na 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 na. World's treason in deep state, country's voice. No crying rape. Tribunals decide Earth's demise or save mankind. Electroshock reality's mine. Mythical tale of rebirth. Last prison, planet Earth. Book now known, we've never been alone. 17 famous fake deaths, got biblical quest. Now completely awake, Neo didn't escape. Old triggers aren't buying, where's the hunters of Biden? Judas, deep state turncoat, Trojan traitor, Vatican known, burn. Faked facts, paraded as truths, march fools, believed in stage news. Time was stolen, outcome changed. Geneva Convention, still defamed. As the Rechu, pedo pope, high on adrenochrome is selling false hope. The lizard queen loses her head, they say. Mobile king makes dominion pay. In bloodlust, needs of the many outweigh the wants of the bad actors trusted. Now get more busted. Life, the world's insane. Karmic MS, and to blame. Was hidden, has always been here. The answer lies within no fear. Hollywood political elites atrocities and deceit. Go inside the flesh. Your journey begins by stop being so selfish. Seek and you shall find an uncomfortable new state of a timeline in my mind. Timeline in our minds. Timelines in our minds. When you know the honest truth, you will be God's troubled youth. Is death a fact of beginning? We don't die, we just go on living. The old ways out of tune, no souls recycled in the moon. Enter Santa's rule, or patriots of Q. A world where nothing's unknown, fields where no GMOs are grown. This is our reality, manifested by you and me. Our true history now unhidden, universe open for all to live in. So many miracles to see. Star Trek's real and Stargate SG. All heads turn, still many asleep. The event bell tolls while counting sheep. The truth to the blind, the first time awakening of a humankind. Luck meets the key, posing the truth to the blind. First time an awakening to a humankind. 3D luck meets the key. Finally here comes 5D. Timelines in my mind. Oh, timelines in my mind. No, Born sacrifice by elite, human gods of play feet. Those humankind have kept their pace. It's almost time to a higher place. Look in the mirror and be. Shine the light. Welcome you Sky family. All your timelines will combine to the highest timeline. Oh, highest timeline. Oh. Timelines in my mind. Timelines in my mind.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Really appreciate you being a part of the podcast. Thank you. Cannot thank you enough. Thank you
again,
so
Scott.
much. Wow, I am a little speechless after that, James. That was like
a lot to wrap your mind around. A lot to absorb.
That was a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
what did you call it? What did you call it?
Conspiracy shotgun. I mean, little pellets of everything. We were hitting, you know, reptilians and QAnon and, you know, the hollow earth, and we talked about the moon being a spaceship. I mean, there was a lot of stuff going on.
There was a lot of stuff. Obama, if you play him backwards, and Trump is still president, and 200 dead children under the White House, and
that was a lot.
You know, that's some crazy shit, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, you know, that's a lot of information. That's a lot to decompress. That's a lot of info.
Yeah, it was. You know what? But you know, this is why we started this, Cal, so we could get, you know, I mean, there's just stuff we can't explain, and that was one of them.
And we said that we wanted to talk about some crazy shit. We didn't say we had to agree with the crazy shit. We didn't say that we was going to necessarily jump on that crazy shit bandwagon. But that met the criteria of that was some crazy shit.
Yeah, it did. Yeah, it did.
All right, next week, another episode of Some Crazy Shit with Kelly and James. I am Kelly.
And I am James. Keep your minds open.